Hi, I'm Christopher Gorham, and this is the first in what I'm hoping is a short series of conversations with people that I think might have some answers that could be useful to you, to me, to us as a community. So without further ado, here is a conversation that I had with an extraordinary human being, an incredibly talented doctor and administrator. His name is Dr. Anthony Scaduto, and he is the president and chief executive officer of a wonderful hospital called the Orthopædic Institute for Children. Enjoy the conversation. Hey! Okay,
hey,
here we go. Welcome to my group yoga class. Hi, folks. I am here with Dr. Anthony Scaduto, who is the president and chief executive officer of Orthopædic Institute for Children. They have campuses in downtown Los Angeles and at UCLA in Santa Monica. And OIC is, and Dr. Scaduto, correct me if I mess this up, is the largest provider of pediatric orthopedics on the West Coast, focusing solely on musculoskeletal conditions and injuries in children. How'd I do?
You did perfectly. That is absolutely correct.
Fantastic. Thank you. Listen, I wanted to talk to you because I feel like parents like my wife, Annelle, and I have been watching the news and are getting a lot of information on what to do if our children get sick, if they get a fever, if they start coughing. But I don't know that parents are sure whether or not it's safe to take their child to a hospital or a healthcare facility if she falls off her bike or he jumps off the roof. So thanks for taking the time to talk to me. And my first question is really basic. Is Orthopædic Institute for Children open during this pandemic?
We are absolutely open. And that was one of our early decisions and commitments that we made. We felt that our services are essential to the community. And just as you mentioned, there's kids continue to injure themselves. Kids continue to need care for chronic orthopedic conditions. And so we've done everything possible to ensure that families can come to our doors and continue to serve and get the care that they need.
Great. Which brings me to the next question that I think everybody's wondering. We've all heard that healthcare facilities are having a really hard time getting masks and gloves and other personal protective equipment. So do you have the PPE that you need? And is it safe for parents to bring their children to OIC?
We do have the PPE needed, so the personal protective equipment has not been easy to acquire. And as you know, there's been a high demand both in healthcare and now in places throughout our communities. So we're very fortunate and we're overwhelmed with all of the support we've received from employees, donors, and people that we just didn't even know existed. There's been a number of charity groups that have stepped up and have volunteered so all sorts of masks. The donations have come in all sorts of sizes, as small as a few masks to many thousands of masks. So it's important for us to be able to provide that gear for our employees, and then as well for our families and patients that are visiting us here on the campus.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's been such, it's been well covered in the news. It's been really hard. So that's really encouraging to hear that you guys have been able to get the equipment that you need. And I understand that you're using telehealth for some of your patients and families. Can you explain a bit about what that is, how it's working, and how families can access it?
Yeah, it's interesting. This is something that we had explored in the past, but we had always assumed that the majority of patient visits that we have could not be conducted via telehealth. If you have an orthopedic injury and you have a cast or need an x-ray, that generally necessitates a visit to our campus. But we've been really surprised by how effective and convenient our telehealth visits have become. So we had a few things that were working in our favor. We have a really advanced electronic medical record. So there is an integrated system to allow for telehealth visits to happen. I can still obtain pictures that are immediately imported into the records. And we utilize each family's own smartphone to provide the video access. So in many ways, it's worked nicely, and I think it's here to stay. I really think that we won't be able to, as we ramp up, be able to do the majority of our visits through telehealth, but I think there's going to be a significant portion that will be conducted through telehealth in the future.
Right. Not until the next iPhone can X-ray your foot.
When that happens, when you hear about that, please let me know, because that would be amazing.
Sure. I'm working on it. Okay,
good.
What are your plans as Governor Newsom issues guidelines to reopen the state? Does that affect you?
It does. We've anticipate a phased-in ramp-up here. There has been already some transition for our surgery center as we moved from having only urgent cases performed in our surgery center. We've now started to do those cases that are time sensitive, and we'll move into doing more elective surgeries in our surgery center. With kids out of school, out of sports, and families a little bit concerned about the safety of pulling their kids out away from home and going to healthcare centers. We anticipate that there's still going to be some diminished demand for our services, but eventually there will be, I think, a rebound. Kids were naturally interested in being active, and eventually they will need our care. So we are monitoring all of the guidance that both the local healthcare agencies are providing, as well as the governor and the city and the mayor. And we anticipate that there will be some adjustments needed over the next month.
One of the things that Anel and I love about OIC is that you guys treat every patient that needs orthopedic care that walks through your doors. But I'm wondering if you're able to keep that promise, because I'm assuming the pandemic has affected the hospital financially. So how are you handling that?
Yeah. It's been a triple whammy. We have, with a change in the volumes here, we've are anticipating and have experienced some loss in our revenue. But in addition to that, we use our investment income to help underwrite the shortcomings that we have in our reimbursement because of the high percentage of patients that we treat that are with Medi-Cal. So that, combined with the additional expenses that we have for PPE and the kind of the repurposing of day-to-day duties that we have to ensure that it's safe to come to OIC, has meant a big financial burden for us. So we've fortunately been able to establish several things that will help. One is there's now a COVID emergency fund that was established. And we've already received significant donations to that fund. I'm happy to report that Rini and Meyer Luskin have offered to match dollar for dollar funds that are donated to the emergency fund. They've been longtime donors of ours, and we're already contributing a matching fund for our culmination of our 2020 campaign. So when this crisis arose, no surprise, they stepped up and said that they would do the same for this emergency fund. So we're happy that that's happened, and we are looking for that fund to help underwrite some of the additional expenses and loss in revenue that we've had.
Right, that's amazing. Were you able to take advantage of any of the relief coming from Washington, like the PPP loans?
We did. We did receive. OIC, I think, is a perfect match for the intentions of that fund.
Yeah.
Our essentialness to our community, is kind of undeniable, and we employ more than 200 employees. So the mission of that fund, I think, was fit nicely with OIC, and so we received a PPE loan that helps maintain operations through June 5th, actually.
Great. What else do you need? I feel like people are looking for ways to contribute and be supportive, especially to medical facilities like OIC. So what can we do to help?
Yeah, so I mentioned the emergency fund, so certainly dollar donations will help. We're going to continue to need PPE supplies, and we've secured a significant stockpile of PPE, but there's a high burn rate on PPE supplies, and so any connections that people can make with donors or organizations that are looking to find organizations in need, we are certainly one of them. And then the last thing I would say is that I think everybody that may be listening to this or watching it knows about OIC, but the message that you started with was that are people aware that OIC is open and that it's a safe place to bring your children. And I can't emphasize that enough. I would argue that we are not only the best place to bring your child with an orthopedic problem, that we're the safest and continue to be so, and aim to be that organization for a long time to come. So delivering that message to others would be of great help to us.
Yeah, great. Last question, and I think this is a real softball. I don't think you're going to have any trouble with it. When is this going to be over? When can I send my kids back to school?
Well, a tough question. I don't think that's an easy question. That's a tough one.
No?
The softball's here.
Well, you don't have to give me the exact date. If you could just ballpark it within a week or two, that'd be great.
Okay, I've got you. Well, so this is something that I think we are going to have to coexist with for a while. But on the positive note, I think we've had some time to adjust, and I anticipate that as the stay-at-home orders are lifted, we will figure out ways to carry on a more normal life. Yeah. So for us, one of the most important questions is, like you said, when will the kids go back to school? Because that has such an impact on what the patients we see and how many patients we see. Yeah. So I think my hope is that we will have a return to regular school come the fall. Whether that's August 18th or a little bit after, we'll see. But I think we're looking to have a more normal return sometime in the fall.
Great. Well, thank you, Dr. Scaduto. And for those of you watching, just in the spirit of full disclosure, my wife, Annelle, and I know how wonderful OIC is firsthand. We've had all three of our kids have been treated there at different times, and we have personal experience in how wonderful the staff is, how amazing the treatment is, not just for us, but for every family that walks through that door. They don't turn anyone away with an orthopedic need ever. So if you're willing, and maybe more importantly, right now in this time of financial hardship for so many families, if you're able, I would hope that you would consider supporting OIC's COVID-19 Relief Fund that Dr. Scaduto mentioned earlier. And you can go to, I'm just going to read it. I have it written over here. Go to ortho-institute.org/donate. And like Dr. Scaduto said, right now through June 30th of this year, every dollar that gets donated will be doubled by the Luskin Match Challenge. Is that right? Did I get that right?
You got it right. That's exactly right.
Perfect. Dr. Scaduto, thank you so much for your time. And please extend our gratitude to all of the doctors and nurses and your entire support staff there at OIC for the work that you're doing now more than ever. We see you, we support you, and we're doing everything we can to help.
I will do that, Chris, and thank you for your ongoing support. You've been incredible to OIC. And I want to say to all those that are watching, please stay safe and healthy.
Right. Thanks so much. So what'd you think? That was my conversation with Dr. Anthony Scaduto from the Orthopædic Institute for Children. He's a truly extraordinary human with working at a really extraordinary place. If you enjoyed the conversation, subscribe. You'll get a notification the next time one of these goes up. And leave comments. Let me know if there's somebody that you're interested in talking to, or questions that you have that'll help guide where this goes next. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. I'm wishing you all the best. Until next time.